Catch. Oh. My bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to the second half of Newsbreak Live, and joining me is Captain Mark Athan from the Torrance Police Department. How are you tonight?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me, and this is a very special time for the Torrance Police Department as your team has officially installed in-car and body cameras. So talk to me about how this idea first came about and where we are today.
Well, back in July of 2015, the previous police chief, Mark Matsuda, wanted the department to start exploring the use of in-car video. The city council approved for us to move forward in trying to explore the best option for us for in-car video opportunities. And that actually morphed over time into adding the body-worn camera solution as well. So as the project moved forward from July of 2015, we started looking at a solution for both.
And the interesting thing, which we were just talking about earlier, is that before this, the Torrance Police Department didn't have any cameras in the vehicle at all, right?
Correct. We had nothing. So we've gone from 0 to 100 pretty quick here to having absolutely no video opportunities out there to having now both an in-car and a body-worn solution.
We're going to go from in-camera to body camera and talk about the differences, but currently how many cameras are installed in the vehicles and on the officers?
So right now we have the in-car video installed in 49 of our marked black and white police vehicles, and then all of our sworn employees at this time have body-worn cameras.
Okay, and this is the movement we've seen across the country, body-worn cameras on officers. So talk to me specifically first about the in-car technology that you're using from Utility Associates, Inc. That's the vendor that you decide on, right? After a lot of research.
Correct. We selected Utility as our vendor because they have a combined integrated both an in-car and a body-worn solution. We didn't want to pick one vendor for the vehicle and one vendor for the body-worn because then you're potentially mixing two different technologies. So we went with Utility because they have a solution for both. They have a proprietary modem that sits in the vehicle that has a hard drive in it, and it captures a video from the vehicle, from the cameras. And also the body-worn cameras themselves out in the field are offloading their video to the vehicle in real time wirelessly. And then once the vehicle returns to the police station, the vehicle offloads the video wirelessly to the department and then ultimately up to the cloud.
What is the benefit of having a camera in the car?
So for the in-car solution, you're looking to give that perspective of what the officer sees while he or she is seated in their vehicle. So that gives a pretty good stationary front view of what the officer's perspective is from sitting in the vehicle.
Okay, and these are very high-tech devices, but they're also very simple. So I know one of the primary reasons you went with this vendor, as you just mentioned, is that they offered in-camera and a body camera option. But what else were you looking for when you chose this vendor? You said it took more than 2 years, right?
Yeah, so the couple of the key components that we really liked about them was that the officers do not have to dock their body cameras. And what I mean by that is when they come out of the field, they don't have to remove their body camera off of their person and then hook it up to a cable or hook it up to a computer and actually dock it and sit and wait for the video to upload. We like that the video is offloading wirelessly and seamlessly to the vehicle and then ultimately to the police station up to the cloud. So we like that. Another thing we liked about them is that the body-worn solution, the camera is actually an Android Motorola phone, smartphone that has the vendor's proprietary software on it, and it sits actually inside of the officer's uniform, and there's a grommet hole now in the officer's uniform, and the lens of the video camera is the only thing you're really seeing. So being internally mounted, if the officer is running, if the officer is involved in a scuffle, it's not the first thing that is falling off of them in these high threshold incidents. It sits very snug and secure inside of the uniform, so a very low possibility of losing that body camera video in a stressful type situation.
Okay, and I do want to talk about, we're talking about video, but I think another important aspect of this transition is that there is audio.
Sure, yeah. So with the video, and it's high definition video, it's really good high definition quality video, but it is also an audio recorder as well. So all the video that's being captured, obviously it has audio with it. When the officer is away from his or her vehicle, all the audio is being captured on the body-worn device. Again, another thing that we liked, going to one vendor, to where if you had two different vendors for each solution, you might be wearing two different devices on you for that audio microphone. So with one, you just have the one device that's capturing everything. So it can be used, this body camera, being your traditional Android phone, can be used for your video capturing, your audio capturing, and also your still imagery. So it could be used for a variety of circumstances or situations out in the field where the officer can simply remove that device from their case, their uniform case, and take different kinds of video of a crime scene, take still photos of a crime scene, use it as a solo audio recorder if they want it. So it is truly multi-purpose.
And speaking of that, I want to touch upon a few of the, I would say, neat aspects. It starts an automatic recording, and it can even alert nearby officers. And on their website, they also said it's the only police body-worn camera that's capable of detecting gunshots. So, I mean, when you're out in the field, tell me how beneficial are these few of many aspects this technology offers?
Yeah, so you hit on two very important things. Again, things we were looking at when we were vetting the different vendors about what technologies they offer. The two you specifically mentioned, one's called Officer Down, where if the body camera goes into a horizontal position for a specified amount of time, and we can set that time parameter, then if it's in that position for a period of time, assuming that the officer is down, it will send out an alert to all other body camera and in-car devices, alerting of the officer down, but also giving their GPS location of specifically where they are.
And speaking of GPS, talk to me about that, because all of the officers are essentially, you know where they are at all times with this technology, and that makes other officers it makes it easier for them to find out where they are, right?
Yeah, so traditionally, before we got this solution, our cars had in them what's called AVL, Automated Vehicle Locators, where our dispatch center is looking at a large screen map, and they can see on a city map where all the vehicles are throughout the city, primarily for two reasons. One is priority dispatching, where you could send the closest unit to a call, and two, for officer safety, where you can see where everybody is. But this takes it one step further in that now you get to see the officer as well when they are away from the car, because the vehicle sets off a 1,500-foot Wi-Fi signal. So if the officer is within 1,500 feet of his or her vehicle, their body camera will be showing where they are as an individual. And I'd also like to hit on what we didn't have before with your traditional AVL, the Automated Vehicle Locator system, which was just on our vehicles. Our motorcycles did not have that. So now we've taken it a step further, where now we are actually able to see the motorcycles as well. So before, again, you only saw the vehicles, to where now you see vehicles, police officers, and police motorcycles. So it's a great officer safety opportunity, and also for priority dispatching.
And speaking of safety, how will this benefit police officers and the community? If you can kind of talk about both ends of it.
Sure. For the police officer, capturing video is the greatest tool related to collection of evidence, right? So when you're going out and doing your investigations, when you're interviewing people, you're able to get right there firsthand, first knowledge information, and see it of what the officer is experiencing, what that encounter is entailing. So you have all that evidence right there. And also, quite frankly, when people come and have a complaint against an officer or make complaints against officers, we're able to review that body camera video right away to either verify the complaint or refute the complaint. So that's a benefit, for the police department, collecting evidence and things of that nature. For the community, I think it creates a lot of transparency for us to show what we are doing out there, show that we're doing the right thing, gaining that public trust, showing that our officers are doing the right thing, that we're out there doing good police work. And it's an opportunity for us to bridge that gap related to transparency and trust.
I'm sure it's been a big transition using this technology. How has it been? Because it's the first few weeks that it's been implemented.
It's definitely a huge learning curve. Like I said, we kind of went from 0 to 100 real quick. So we are in definitely a training and learning phase right now where the officers are getting used to how to log into their cameras, how to tag their videos. Like after they record something, they'll need to classify it about how long the video retention will be. They'll need to write the case number on there. So when you go back and search for video, you can search by case number. Things like that. They're getting used to turning it on and turning it off and things like that. So I would say we're still easing into that comfort zone of where it just becomes second nature to them and automatic. Right. So there's still a little bit of bumps in the roads strictly related to training and learning. Again, just because we're never in this type of environment before, but we're getting there. I'd say in the 3 weeks that we've been live, I've seen a very quick learning curve happen here, and I think guys are adapting very well.
What is the mission, the hope for this technology? I know you mentioned to decrease complaints, but what's the end goal?
The end goal again is just to create the best opportunity for collection of evidence for prosecution, where the attorneys, the lawyers, everybody can see what's really happening out there. And to bridge that gap with the community related to transparency and trust. And when they see that we're doing the right thing out there, we hope these personnel complaints will decrease, because it's going to be right there on tape where it shows the officer's actions. So that's our end goal is collection of evidence, officer safety, transparency with the community.
And maybe some questions people are asking is, are these cameras always recording?
No, they're not. The officers wear a Bluetooth wristband. Some of them have transitioned it to their police belt, wherever they feel comfortable for muscle memory of where they can actually turn it on and turn it off manually. And then same thing in the police cars, based off where they use the light switch or a manual on the computer or on a tablet, they could turn it on and off.
Okay.
So no, not always recording.
And speaking of cameras, for future situations, cases, what are these, what is this technology most beneficial for? And you touched upon it earlier, but is it more for pursuits, or what would you say?
Well, I think it's primarily first for the front end, for the prosecution, for the complaints and stuff, but you hit on the back end. The back end is huge related to training, right? So now we're going to be able to review and debrief incidents and see things, how they actually unfolded, because a lot of times in threshold incidents, the officer may not remember everything because they get that tunnel vision per se, or they get caught up in the moment, and when they're trying to relive the incident, they're not catching every little detail that might be important. So when you get to go back and look at the video and use it as a training opportunity, I think that's a huge benefit as well.
Okay. Captain Ethan, is there anything else you'd like to add about this technology and the journey to where your department is today?
Basically, I'd just like to say that thank you to the City Council for letting us pick a vendor that we did. I know it's a lot of money. It was a big investment for the city to invest in this technology, but we're hoping that it truly lives up to what it is, and that it creates all these opportunities I talked about: collection of evidence, officer safety, complaints, transparency, trust. I think the technology that we chose and how it's going to be embraced by both the officers and the community is nothing but a win-win situation.
Well, Captain Ethan, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great night. Well, that does it for Newsbreak Live. If you ever have news or video that you'd like to share, please email us at newsbreak@torranceca.gov. Also, if you missed